Master Cell live from the AAMP.TV mobile studios here on the campus of Auburn University. Yes, down here in Alabama. What a glorious day in Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305. Or check them out online for more information at nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us. And a big welcome in to everybody listening in on iHeart, Spotify, and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, as well as our friends over in Las Vegas on Magic 97.9 FM, KIOF, and everybody else from Boston to Atlanta to, 107.1 The River, KFNV over in Mississippi, Natchez, Mississippi, and Faraday, Louisiana, and everybody else from Boston to Honolulu and a bunch of points in between, and in hotel rooms from coast to coast. It's 650,000 rooms as well as YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. All right, jumping right into with our top story. And the top story is really about injuries in the National Football League. I mean, look, in the first 4 weeks of the season, this season, 472 injuries have occurred. It's quite a few. Now, out of those 472, 85 of them are knee injuries and 35 are ankle injuries. Of course, 11 are concussions, but I want to focus on the knees and the ankles for just a moment. Now, look, why are they important? First of all, we have an issue with 17 of the 31 NFL stadiums actually have real grass. 15, of course, play their home games on artificial turf. Now, the Associated Press had come out with a story, and this was about the NFLPA asking teams to change all fields to natural grass, and I'm 100% for it. We're going to get into this. Here we go. Now, the NFL Player Association president cited the league's official injury report from 2012 to 2018 to state his case that the natural grass fields provide a much lower risk for injuries compared to artificial surfaces during practices and games. Now, the analysis shows that players have a 28% overall higher rate of non-contact lower extremity injuries on turf. Non-contact knee injuries occur at a 32% higher clip, and non-contact foot or ankles at 69% more likely on artificial. Now, NFLPA president and 7-year Cleveland Browns center J.C. Tretter strongly advocates for players' safety while maintaining a diplomatic approach. And he says, quote, anecdotally, I know my body responds playing on turf versus grass. The data backs that up, which was my main reason for writing a newsletter. Now, in something that from here on out, I think we need to make it a priority, close quote. Now, the subject on field safety moved to the forefront, as you may recall, if you're a 49ers fan, losing Nick Bosa and also losing Solomon Thomas, both suffering season-ending torn ACLs in the road win at New York, or better yet, at New Jersey, because don't the Jets and Giants both play in New Jersey? Moving on. Now, several 49er players described the synthetic turf at MetLife Stadium as, quote, sticky, close quote, prompting the NFL representative to inspect and confirm the quality of the field before the teams returned in Week 3 to play versus the Giants. Now, quote, until we can find a way to get synthetic turf to respond and react like natural grass, it's too much of a danger to continue to play on and expect different results. It's impossible to get grass in every location. Better yet, it is possible to get grass at every location. We've had it before. And it's about pushing for that, close quote. Now, 17 teams, of course, play their home games on grass, while 15 don't. But the latter includes the Rams and Chargers' new stadium, who share SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, and, of course, the co-owners of the Giants and Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Now, quote, You add the increase in injury rate just based on how synthetic turf is built. Close quote. The ability to tear. No, we're going to continue the quote. The ability to tear away and release your ankles or your knees from compromised positions. When you put as much force and torque into the ground, eventually something has to give. When you're on turf, it's going to be your joints. Now close the quote. Now, before any surface is deemed playable, the NFL uses something called the Clegg Impact Tester to determine if the field is too hard. But it does not measure the safety factors. Now, the Players Association has a committee of engineers developing a more comprehensive method. Now, as president of the NFLPA, Treader said, lobbying for grass fields will be a key talking point in labor negotiations moving forward. And he also said, if we know grass is significantly more safe than synthetic turf, it's continuing, pushing putting that agenda forward and making it a priority. This is about the continuing to push and provide us with the safest work environment as possible. Player safety will always be a priority for us and for the union. Close the quote. Now, talking with a lot of players and coaches, former players and coaches as well, the problem of, we'll call it stress fractures. We'll start there. We think about when we're playing on grass as kids, sometimes the field's a little muddy. Sometimes it's soft. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes you have weak spots where you can turn your ankle in the grass. It happens. But now, that was in the park. But now when we're talking about professional football fields, we're talking about well-maintained turf, not real turf, not AstroTurf. We're talking about real grass fields. This is a very different venture because now you're talking about a softer surface where you're not going to necessarily dig your cleats into the grass and not have it have a little bit of give. You're going to have some give in there. And I can tell you as a baseball player, playing on turf, it's no fun whatsoever. Playing football on turf, it can't be fun either. Because the problem is when you plant your foot, and let's just say you turn your foot. If you turn your foot sideways in grass, it will turn because the grass will give and you'll put big craters in the grass, whatever it is. That's why you have a grounds crew that fixes things up. For example, on the golf course, when the golfers go in and hack their way into hitting the balls, whether you're in the rough or you're on the green or whatever the heck it is, it doesn't matter. My point is that's why you have a grounds crew. So the grounds crew will fix the football fields. Now, can they fix it during the game? Probably not. But can they fix it before and after? Absolutely they can. But it's a safer surface, so there is give. When you stick your foot in with cleats on, you stick your foot in the turf will give, being the regular grass when I say turf. Now, the foreign substance or the artificial turf, the artificial surface, we'll say it that way, the artificial surface, it doesn't have that kind of give. And so you end up putting a lot of stress on the ligaments, on the tendons, and it causes a lot of problems. Now, think about this, folks. All the ACL tears, all the MCL tears. I mean, you're talking 85 knee injuries so far in 1 month. Now, can you attribute that to, well, there wasn't a training camp, so we're just starting right in. Well, that's the 4 weeks, right? Or 4 weeks of preseason games, nonetheless. There was a training camp. So is it a 4-week issue of no practice games? Absolutely not. No. This is an ongoing issue of playing at a surface that's just not safe. And with all the money the NFL has from all their TV contracts, and I'm sure any player or coach in today's game will tell you that, look, they have enough money, the team owners have enough money. They could put in real grass in every stadium. They could grow it. I mean, come on, if they could grow, I don't know, pick your favorite herbal whatever, right? Some people do this, right? They have grow lights. Well, you don't necessarily need grow lights in these big stadiums, but maybe they do. And maybe they can use grow lights to grow really nice grass in these things. I mean, look, if they're growing grass everywhere else in buildings with hydroponics and they're selling it for people to, well, I guess for recreational use, why can't they grow regular grass on top of the fields? To me, that makes all the sense in the world. You're going to cut down on lawsuits. You're going to cut down on injuries. You're going to cut down on career losses, nonetheless. Because if you take the average football player, I think the average lifespan is about 2 years. maybe 2 years. Had this conversation with Jim Fossil yesterday. And Jim, as a 15-year coach in the NFL and a former player as a quarterback, he had said the same thing, that it comes down to having a better surface for you to play upon. And so when you think about that 2-year window, maybe 2.5 years, well, if that's your max window anyway, what happens when you're playing on an artificial surface? I would argue that career is going to be cut possibly in half. Who knows? I don't know. But all I know is it's going to be cut, and that's going to mean major lawsuits against Roger Goodell's National Football League and the owners, because let's face it, folks, they seem to be on the same team, that being the league commissioner and the owners. But the players, when it comes to player safety, seem to be left on the outside, and that shouldn't happen. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come, folks.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV, or stream the show live at thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus, so we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studios here at Auburn University. That's AAMP.TV. An important message for consumers, business owners, and managers for information on the best high-speed internet, satellite TV, cell phone service, identity protection, home and business security and automation, credit card processing, plus savings on electricity and gas bills. Contact Safely Spend at 702-799-9935. That's for information on smart savings for homes and businesses. Contact Safely Spend at 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935, or check them out at safelyspend.com. That's safelyspend.com. You can also email them at info@safelyspend.com. Big round of applause for everybody saving money on their stuff. For their homes and businesses and stuff. It's all good stuff. And a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the independents as well. A big hello to our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY. Thanks for tuning in at 99.1 FM, as well as WAUD right here in Auburn, home of the Atlanta Braves. Big round of applause for those Atlanta Braves. Yes! All right, we're going to jump back into the NFL. I'm going to talk a little bit about Joe Burrow's first victory. Joe Burrow is a very good quarterback. Everybody down in Tiger Country knows this, about all of our friends on 107.1 The River. Everybody knows this in that area, and let's face it, right here in Southeast Conference country. Now, Joe Burrow is the only rookie quarterback to accomplish some pretty interesting feats. Now, according to USA Today, Bengals rookie quarterback Joe Burrow is off to a red-hot start over the first 3 games of his career. As we noted, coming out of week 3, he made some outright history with his 91 completions, the most of any passer ever over the course of his first 3 starts. A big round of applause for Joe Burrow. Now, and as researchers dug in, they keep coming up with more impressive stats, more impressive takeaways. Now, a CBS Sports, they had pointed out Burrow's statistical feat was in yardage, passing touchdowns, and interceptions right now are the highest of any rookie passer. So it looks like Joe is doing exactly what he was drafted for with the Cincinnati Bengals, coming over from the Bayou Bengals. And let me ask you a couple of questions, folks. Look, are the numbers skewed? I mean, generally speaking, is there too much credit given in a pass-heavy league? I don't know about that. Let's continue for a moment. I mean, what would guys like Jim Everett, Jim Kelly, Kenny Anderson from the Cincinnati Bengals, even Dan Marino, the great Dan Marino, what would they have done in a pass-heavy offense as rookie quarterbacks? I mean, these guys were tremendous passers. What could they have accomplished instead of having good running games? Think about Jim Everett. Who did Jim Everett have? Well, Jim Everett had, Eric Dickerson. That's right. And here's the funny thing. When you look at the Rams record books, they say, it was the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner, and he's a Hall of Famer. Guess what, folks? Most of the Rams records are still held by Jim Everett. Yes, Jim Everett, who's not in the Hall of Fame because he didn't win a Super Bowl, whatever. But my point here is you take that running game away from Jim Everett, and then you say, all right, Jim, we're going to let you pass the ball. And we're going to let you pass the ball 50, 60, 70 times a game, whatever the heck it is. We're going to let you pass most of the downs. Don't you think those numbers would have been remarkably inflated? What about Jim Kelly? Remember, Jim Kelly came over from the USFL. And if I'm not mistaken, he played with Herschel Walker with the New Jersey Generals. That was Trump's team, if I'm not mistaken. In any event, you take a guy like Jim Kelly. As he was with the Buffalo Bills, what did he have? He had a good running game, a really good running game. Remember that guy? I think his name was, Thurman Thomas. That's the guy. All right. So again, you got another team with another good running back. But if you made it just strictly a pass-heavy, pass, what would Jim Kelly have done? Right? And the beat goes on. Let's just stay right there in Cincinnati. Kenny Anderson, a fantastic quarterback, just a remarkable quarterback. Got some Super Bowl parents right here. And, losing to a very tough Joe Montana-led San Francisco 49ers. And so you have to ask, What would Kenny Anderson have done as a rookie in a run-heavy offense? Think about that, right? I guess my point with all this is, look, you could say that Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. I say he is a good quarterback. That's great. There's no disputing he's a good quarterback. But are the numbers a little bit skewed? That's what I want to know. And while we're on the subject, I mean, what about the fact that the wide receivers and tight ends are not really getting hit as hard? They're not getting hit as much because now it's the no-touch league. It's almost like playing flag football with the exception of maybe a couple of weekly hits that are mammoth hits, right? So what about those? What about the fact that the quarterback can throw over the middle knowing that his wide receivers and tight ends or even the runner backs coming out of the backfield are not going to really get hit these days, right? Because now there's targeting, now there's this, now there's defenseless. Look, back in the day when guys like Everett and Kelly and Anderson and Marino played, it was a different story for crossing routes across the middle, right? We think about the wide receivers and the tight ends getting absolutely drilled and they get blown up. All right, so when those guys got blown up, they were a little more apprehensive of coming across the middle. You don't believe me? Ask guys like Ronnie Lott. What was the feeling for the other side? They knew that those guys were going to get drilled. Guys like Gary Fensick and Doug Plank from the Chicago Bears. Plank, that's actually the number. His 46 is the actual number, the reason for the 46 defense from Buddy Ryan. Just a little bit of tidbit of extra knowledge to bedazzle people at cocktail parties with. So what about the fact that receivers and tight ends and running backs coming across the middle, they were going to get blown up in yesteryear. Now a year, no, they're not going to really get hit. No. They can't even hardly be touched. And so, which makes the job a little bit tougher for the defensive backs of the corners, right? So now you have these shutdown corners, but they can't hit anybody. So all they could do is knock the ball away or intercept it, right? And so what does this lead to? What does this lead to? It leads to inflated numbers. The numbers are skewed. I'm sorry, everybody that's backing the NFL today in the way that their team is scoring 30, 40, 50 points a game. Okay, whatever. I don't want to hear about that crap. But I will talk, and I'm very willing to talk about bad defenses. Now, bad defenses we see quite a bit of in the NFL, especially this season. I mean, look, again, now we ask the question, are the bad defenses a product of no preseason games or just bad defense in general? Now, let's go right to the kings of the hill, the very, very top of this horrific pile. That would be the Atlanta Falcons, giving up 36 points per game? That's unbelievable. Oh, and by the way, the Dallas Cowboys are 1 point behind, giving up 35 points a game. That's not good defense. I mean, no wonder you've won one game. And that was a gift anyway. And that was only because Atlanta gave the game away. I mean, would Dallas even have a win? Probably not. Would Mike McCarthy be on the hot seat? He probably is. And should he be? Yes. But should the defensive coordinator be canned after 4 weeks in Dallas giving up 35 points a game? Absolutely. Fire him. You're out of here. Look, if you're going to give up a bunch of points, you say, okay, great, I better score a lot of points. Well, in the Cowboys' case, I mean, they're scoring a lot of points, but let's face it, giving up 35 points a game, that is absolutely, unequivocally not the answer, and it never is. Now, teams like the Jets, we expect them to give up 33 points a game, as well as the Lions, 32 points a game. And maybe the Vikings, I don't know. They're supposed to have a pretty good defense at giving up 31. The Houston Texans, sort of a scratcher. Here we're on the Texans radio network down on CBS Sports, KSIX down in Corpus Christi. We happen to be talking to the Texans crowd. How do you live with 31 points a game against? Oh, and by the way, for the balance of the fans, the football fans down there in South Texas, I know that they're Dallas Cowboy fans. And guess what? Both of your teams, defensively, they smell. They're giving up on average 33 points per game, and that just is not going to cut it. Raiders at 30 points a game. The Browns at 30, but here's the weird thing about the Browns. The Browns are giving up 30, but they're also 3-1. So this Browns team, we know they can score. So they're one of the few teams that actually can score while giving up a boatload of points. The Jags at 29 points. The Saints, a very interesting club, give up 29, but Drew Brees, at any point, this guy could drop 40, 50 points in one game. So, yeah, we're a little concerned if we're New Orleans Saints fans, but not too much. I mean, they're playing 500 ball. They should be better than that, but the beat goes on. The Washington Football Club, an abysmal 28 points a game. But then we get to the bottom two teams in our little list here, and that would be Seattle at 27 points per game, which, of course, they could score 40 to 50 points a game. And the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are not really a surprising team. They are a good defensive team, and they're still giving 25 points a game up. When you ask yourself, if these guys are that good defensively, why are they lacking? Right? The Chicago Bears are a fairly stable club, but they've given up basically 20 points a game, but they've scored 21 points a game. If you look at their record at 3-1, you scratch your head and say, well, how the hell is that even happening? Well, guess what? The Bears at least are only giving up 20, which they're keeping their team in the game. And with a very poor offense, they're in the bottom 10 in offense, yet they're in the top 5 in defense. You've got yourself a formula that actually could get you into the playoffs. But the Bills, I expect a little bit more from them on the defensive side, and they should have blown out teams like the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, folks, back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus to shift into college football when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozolino, host and remaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
back to Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studios here on the campus of Auburn University. That's AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you Google AAMP.TV and check them out. In fact, here's Sonar to tell you just a little bit about AAMP.TV.
AAMP.TV is that place that you find on the internet. Go to anything, DuckDuckGo, Google, Yahoo, anything out there. Heck, you out there on YouTube, you've already found us. So go ahead and go to AAMP.TV. AAMP.TV, where you can have your voice be heard and distributed out to the world.
Right. Big round of applause for the reluctant sports broadcaster. You can call him Sonar. I like throwing curveballs every now and then. Oh, and by the way, this segment is brought to you in part by whom? By Cali Vegas, who works with AAMP.TV, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Of course, Cali Vegas can help them with everything you need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic or possibly reinventing yourself from sitting around for the last 6-7 months, whatever the heck it's been, and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. 1119, or visit them for more information at calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. All right, and welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and those listening over in Boston on WBNW. Thanks for joining in. Atlanta's WDJY, Auburn, WAUD, right here in Auburn, Alabama, home of the Atlanta Braves, 107.1 The River, KFNV, CBS Sports, Corpus Christi, KSIX, home of the Astros, Texans, and Rockets. Las Vegas, over in Las Vegas, Magic 97.9 FM, as well as our CNBC, NBC News, and Associated Press affiliate over in Los Angeles, KCAA, and a big hello to our friends on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, and in hotels from coast to coast, and also on television on Spectrum, Comcast, and Cox Cable in Atlanta, in Tampa, in Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, Detroit, and even over in New Mexico. Folks, we're everywhere. You can't get away from us. All right, great news. We're going to shift into college football. Why? Because we're here on the campus in the Southeast Conference of Auburn University. Let's kind of get into the rankings just a little bit here. We don't want to talk about Auburn's performance over the weekend. It wasn't that exciting. So we're going to kind of get over that, and we're going to move into some of the benefactors of the, well, let's put it this way, of this weekend's escapades. Now, no Power 5 conference benefits more from the Big 12's flop than the Pac-12. This is according to USA Today. Now, with 3 playoff spots essentially occupied by the winners, of course, of the Big 10, ACC, and SEC, or basically Ohio State, Clemson, and whoever survives the SEC, the Pac-12 has a chance at sneaking into the 4th spot in the semifinals, recently held, of course, by whom? But by Oklahoma. And we're going to give Oklahoma an astounding round of laughter because of their awful performance. Now, that does depend, though, on 2 factors. One, if Oregon or Southern Cal can run the table. And 2, of course, if the conference is able to play out their 7-game schedule without any cancellations or postponements. That's going to be a big deal. But now think about this. Oklahoma, boy, they probably are the biggest losers, well, we'll just say for the weekend. Now, losers of back-to-back games in the regular season for the first time in 21 years, Oklahoma is now out of the playoff race after losing 37-30 to Iowa State. Not a bad club. Iowa State's a pretty good club. Now, is the team the biggest disappointment in the country? Let's stick with that for a moment. That may be a stretch given the Sooners' obvious issues on defense and the awful play of their redshirt freshman quarterback, Spencer Rattler. Now, still for a program that has made a home in the national semifinals. Notice how they didn't say the finals? Moving on. Still for the program that's made this splash to be sitting 1-2 and winless in the Big 12 is remarkably shocking. Now, thinking also of another team that really had a chance to do something big here, but they really dropped the ball, and that was the University of Central Florida. Big round of boos for them. Because those guys, boy, they were sort of in the driver's seat early in before, of course, the Big Ten and Pac-12 play. Now, losing to Tulsa for the second year in a row, of course, is nothing short of embarrassing for Central Florida, which, of course, went into Saturday's game with dreams of cracking the top 4 in the final playoff ranking, but exist the weekend on the outside now. They are looking on the outside of the AAC. This is the group of 5, folks. Now, the New Year's 6 bowl bid as the top team in the group of 5 remains in play. But look, if you can't beat Tulsa, can you really beat Cincinnati, SMU, Memphis, and Temple with that great defense? Can you beat this? Can you even beat South Florida? I don't even know. But let's go from bad to worse. We've gone from disaster. Now we're going to go to debacle. Now, the abysmal start for Kansas University is something to behold, folks. This is ugly, and when I say ugly, I mean it is ugly. Mind you, this is a Big 12 program. Now, again, according to USA Today, this might not be the worst team. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, it might not be the worst team of the last decade of Kansas football, but it's in the conversation, at least at this early point in the season, which is a statement in itself of the lack of growth throughout the program since hiring Les Miles before last season. Now, the Jayhawks defense, the roster very lean at several key positions, including quarterback, and there's still no excuses for starting the year with a 15-point loss. Are you ready for this one? 15-point loss to Coastal Carolina. Come on, man. And a 33-point loss to Baylor and a 40-point loss to Oklahoma State. Boy, these guys, I tell you, they are bad. They are bad. This is an awful club. And you want to talk about an upset. So let's look at the upset side of things. And let's stick right here in the SEC for a moment. Right here on the campus of Auburn University, yes, they did not have a very good game. And losing to a pretty tough Georgia team on the road, we'll give them that. Georgia, tip your hat to you. And that's about it. We're going to tip your hat to you. Because you know why? We have an audience over in Atlanta on WDJY 99.1 FM. And that's, well, guess what? That's in Georgia. And even this station on WAUD, well, we stretch into Columbus, Georgia. So we got to give them props to anybody on the, well, across the Georgia line. We're going to go ahead and give them a round of applause, but a very short one, just for that victory over Auburn. Now, let's think about this one, folks. The SEC is loaded with a bunch of good teams, and it seems to almost be like a pro conference of sorts, right? I mean, how many of these teams could beat the Detroit Lions? I mean, that's really what we should be asking ourselves, right? Some of the worst teams in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. How many would actually lose to the Miami Dolphins? I would argue some of those teams in the SEC could probably beat them, and in the ACC as well. All right, so now we look about the Razorbacks. Yes, Arkansas. They snapped a 20-game SEC losing streak with a colossal upset. Big round of applause for Pig Suey. Now, according to the Southeast Conference website, and they're reporting from Starkville, Mississippi, 2 coaches in almost 3 years since Arkansas last won an SEC game, the Razorbacks took down the team that was the talk of college football last week. And yes, Felipe Franks threw 2 touchdown passes, and Arkansas intercepted KJ Costello 3 times as the Razorbacks broke a 20-game SEC losing streak by upsetting number 16 Mississippi State. Now, Arkansas, their defensive coordinator, Barry Odom, had gone up against Leach's air raid when they were both in the Big 12. Now, unlike LSU, which played a lot of man-to-man, Arkansas used plenty of zone defense, and the Razorbacks allowed plenty of yards, but made Miss State settle for small chunks. Now, Miss State, the loud voice of praise. Leach will be quiet this week. The Bulldog fans have gone through the full Leach experience in 2 weeks, pulling a stunning upset and tossing out a lame duck at the same 2-week stretch. It's unbelievable. I mean, look, beating LSU is a big task. I mean, of course, they lost a lot of players to the NFL, but guess what? You beat LSU, it is what it is. But now LSU, they bounced back, but So they bounced back and beat Vanderbilt. Is that really a big deal? Let me tell you why the loss to Mississippi State is more important than what they did to Vanderbilt. The fact is, Mississippi State, this should have a ripple effect. Mississippi State just lost to a really bad Arkansas team. So therefore, LSU, well, let's face it, LSU will probably get lesser looks as we're looking at, like for these bigger bowl games as we move to the forefront of the season, right? We start getting into the football championship, whatever. Now look, if they end up in a tie, shouldn't that horrific loss to Mississippi State be a part of this play because Miss State lost the following week to Arkansas? I mean, so you ask yourself, who did LSU really lose to? I mean, was Miss State bad or were they really bad? Now, Miss State's a pretty good club, but are they really good? This is the question that people should be asking. I mean, look, whether LSU proved they could protect their quarterback, and whatever the case, LSU did not. Look, they won a game against a very weak Vanderbilt team, very weak, and they should have destroyed. They should have beaten them by 90. Well, guess what? They didn't. It was 41-7. So is LSU that good? When we look at the rankings, and I want to come back after the break with this, but you look at the rankings, you wonder what the hell's going on here. Tell you what, folks, hold that thought. We're going to come back with the college rankings after the break. I'm going to kind of break this down just a little bit for you. Let's have some fun with it. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from the campus of Auburn University. Yes, Auburn University. Big shout out to War Eagle and the Auburn Tigers. Big round of applause for being nice enough to let me roll up the AAMP.TV mobile studios here right on the edge of campus. You can see, if everybody watching on television, you can see the students walking back and forth and whatnot. And boy, they were very nice to let us set up here. So again, a big round of applause for Auburn University. Everybody listening in on WAUD, thanks for joining us, as well as all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And those listening even over in Las Vegas on Magic 97.9 FM, thanks for joining us. And those on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, jumping back in and talking quickly about the rankings. Now, the NCAA football rankings, largely, I would say there's a few changes. Clemson at the top, Alabama number 2, Georgia number 3. Georgia moves up one spot, Florida moves down one spot. That club from South Bend, Indiana at number 5. Ohio State, who hasn't played a snap of football yet, at number 6, which we're going to get to that in just a moment. And, of course, the Hurricanes moving up. North Carolina moves up 4 spots. North Carolina moves up 4 spots to number 8. And Penn State has not played a snap. Oak State moves up 7 spots to number 10. Cincinnati moves up into 11 at 3-0. Oregon, no spots played at all. Auburn drops down to number 13 with their tough loss to Georgia. Tennessee takes a big jump at 7. Is Tennessee for real, folks? We got to be asking ourselves this. I guess as we get a few more weeks down the line, we're going to find out just how good they are when they start playing the big boys in the SEC. Wisconsin hadn't played a snap. LSU dropped down to 17th. And that's kind of where we left off, and we're going to stop right there. LSU drops down to number 17, and you say, is it really 17, or is it out of the top 25? Because it really doesn't matter whether LSU is anywhere except, well, let's just call it the top 5, top 6, maybe, a chance to get into that national playoff picture. And I think with the loss that they just had, coupled with the mid-state loss to Arkansas, to lowly Arkansas, well, guess what? Now LSU really finds itself on the outside looking in. I wouldn't say as bad as Oklahoma, but boy, that it turns out to be a bigger loss because mid-state lost to Arkansas. That's the reason we brought it up. Now, the teams that haven't even played yet, even Minnesota at 25, they cracked the top 25. Well, guess what? So they crack it, and they haven't played a snap. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Michigan at 20, Wisconsin at 16, Oregon at 12, Penn State at 9, Ohio State at 6. None of those teams have played a snap yet. So then you say, well, wait a minute. Why are they in the rankings? We talked about this last week. Why the rankings? They haven't played a snap of football. They don't belong in these rankings. Maybe they have their own preseason rankings. That's kind of how it should work. But you wonder, wait a minute. Is Penn State and Ohio State really worthy of those 2 top 10 spots? I don't know. Because if that's the case, if not, well, what about teams like Cincinnati? Cincinnati jumps into the top 10. Oak State moves up 2 slots. Even North Carolina moves into the 7th spot. You have to ask yourself these questions because it's not fair. The whole thing is skewed. And at some point, there's going to be a lot of discrepancy, and we're going to go back to, well, these guys played ahead of time, and they had this illness, they had this problem, they had that problem, whatever. Eventually, there's going to be some discrepancy, and yes, there will be an asterisk next to this year's national champion. Is there really a national champion? Should they have even played? I don't know. But I'll tell you what. I know someone who's not playing, and that would be Georgetown's wide receiver, Dijon Williams. Oh, yeah. This guy was arrested on first-degree murder charges in Georgia. We're going to let it go again because you don't do that. Really bad stuff, folks. Now, Williams was in Georgia as the FCS, he's a Georgetown player. Williams was in Georgia as the FCS school is not playing football this fall. According to Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., Williams was arrested in Gwinnett, Georgia by U.S. Marshals on murder charges stemming from a killing in the D.C. area. Now, Georgetown said in a statement recently that the university protocol dictated that the players automatically suspended immediately upon his or her arrest. No fall sport athletes are on campus and no practices are currently being held. Quote, while we are working to learn more information, we will cooperate fully with any investigation and we will stand prepared to offer resources to members of our community who may have been affected. At this time, there are no indications that the alleged crime took place near the university, close quote. Now, that's what the school said. Now, many of Georgetown's classes are being conducted remotely this semester, like a lot of other universities. And like most schools across the country, in college football's second tier, Georgetown's football season was postponed, of course, because of the alleged coronavirus pandemic. But I guess what we're talking about here is a really bad situation. You've got a player, you've got a human arrested for murder? I mean, what in the world are we talking about here? First-degree murder charges? This is terrible. It's an embarrassment to the American public, first of all. That stuff should never happen. Period. I don't care if you're a student athlete. I don't care if you're just a student. I don't care if you're Joe Blow walking down the street or Jane Doe walking down the street. Guess what? You shouldn't do that in the first place, and there's no reason to celebrate people with criminal histories. That's for damn sure. And by the way, in the ACC, Dabo Swinney does not support messages of social justice or other issues on players' uniforms. And a big round of applause for Dabo Swinney on that. Now, he had recently said his stance is solely because he's a college football traditionalist who values the historic look of jerseys and not necessarily because he disagrees with the efforts to combat these issues. Now, quote, it's not anything to do with the message or whatever. It's just I always not messed with uniforms. It's always been my deal, but that's all changed this year, close quote. Now, the NBA and other sporting organizations around the world have added and allowed players to add messages to jerseys. And, of course, even on the floor in the NBA. And you wonder why we don't cover them, folks. None of the social media came out against Clemson's efforts criticizing the team's actions. Now, Dabo had defended the teams earlier this month by saying not everyone will agree, but the messages on players' helmets on the fields will continue. And he also said, quote, hopefully people can respect our young men and what they believe in, as well as the different causes, close quote. Now, his policy has long been keeping traditional uniforms styled as they were since getting the job, back 12 years ago. Now, quote, that's just a product of 13 years at Alabama, close quote, as a player and assistant coach, he said. Now, Dabo recalled when the Crimson Tide added a Nike logo to the uniform saying, quote, and you wouldn't have thought in the world that the whole world was coming to an end, close quote. Now, the coaches added, and this particular coach added that he's not a fan of political groups. That's for sure. And so he says also, when asked if he considered Black Lives Matter a political organization, he referred back to previous comments he had made. Basically, he doesn't want to talk about it, folks. And frankly, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm just happy that he at least voiced his opinion. You know, he's in a high profile position. But guess what, folks? Politics does not belong in sports. It doesn't belong on the field, on the court, on the ice, or anywhere. Sports is a release from politics. Now, let's remember that. Oh, and by the way, in case you've been watching, or a lack thereof, of the NBA, and you wonder why the ratings are down a whopping 68%, well, take a look on the floor, folks. Take a look at everything that's going on there, and you'll see the American people are just straight up upset. They're bent out of shape, and they've had enough. They don't want any more of it. Yes! Moving right along. Quickly with the NHL. The NHL, of course, could slip past the December 1st deadline in State of the League's address that recently happened. Now, according to CBS Sports, the NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman gave a State of the League address during a press conference prior to Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, he has been a traditional kind of guy. Now, among his comments was the 2020 and 2021 season could potentially start as late as January, though there was no definitive answer on when it would actually start in the first place. Now, Gary Bettman had noted the league had only just begun informally considering options for the start of the season as of recent, as the alleged coronavirus pandemic has caused a lot of uncertainty in the NHL's planning. Now, the closest thing that we've had to an exact start date was given back when the league's plan for the bubble season was first announced back in July, of course, which that original start date was supposed to be December 1st. Now, regardless of when the season start ends up, one thing that the NHL is a bit more concerned of is the desire to play a full 82-game schedule. Now, the commissioner also added it was conceivable that next season would start without fans, and the tradition or the transition into fans attending the games is limited into some sort of a capacity, but noted that it was just speculation at that point. Now, also, what about the season ticket holders? Now, I'm a season ticket holder for the Vegas Golden Knights. And so as a season ticket holder for Vegas, I say, wait a minute, what are we doing here? If we could see fans in these other stadiums, surely they have some protocols. I mean, and where am I basing this off of? Folks, if you could go to your favorite big box retailer, whether it's Target or Walmart or this one or that one, whatever, then you can stand in line and you can stand 6 feet apart from somebody. And guess what? You can wear your blasted mask. That doesn't really help anything. That's another discussion for another time. But if you're allowed to do that, first of all, you have to be allowed to be able to go into other closed door venues, such as, oh, hey, how about an NBA stadium, and how about a National Hockey League stadium? You should be able to watch a game. People should be distanced out just like they are in the stores right now. And frankly, it's just in bad taste. I mean, you also ask, what about those NFL, Major League Baseball, and NBA season ticket holders? They all have the same problem. The question we should be asking about fans and revenues and, of course, hanging on to fan loyalty. Are fans just going to walk away from this at some point and say, you know what, I don't even care. I'll watch it on TV if I have nothing better to do, if I'm done watching the paint dry or watching the grass grow or watching the clouds change different formations. Is that what we're coming to? We have to ask ourselves, and I'm asking myself as a season ticket holder, is it that important for me now to go to a hockey game and watch my team when I couldn't even see them in the Stanley Cup playoffs? And now I have to sit back and say, well, you know, let's see if the government allows this. And then if the government allows this, let's find out what the league says. And if the league says, okay, what about the team owners? And then what about player safety and all this other garbage? What are we really talking about here, folks? This is about hanging on to the loyalty of the fans. And of course, the NFL has made it perfectly clear. We are going to play with fans in the seats. That's what we're going to do because we put revenue ahead of the so-called player safety and fan safety. Now, we don't know about that. I mean, even right here on the campus of Auburn, we'll see up to, I think, 15% as far as the fans go. But guess what? That's going to be about it. You're not going to see much more than that. Is that what we're going to see in hockey? What if you're not one of the 15% that gets going to watch your games? I'm going to leave you with that. We're going to see you next time right here on your favorite station. Until then, folks, so long, everyone.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.